Why do many countries use A4 paper size while the US uses letter paper? It's so ordinary that we hardly give it a second thought. We use it for everything, from jotting down shopping lists to printing important documents. But have you ever paused to wonder why the piece of paper you grab in the US, the standard letter size, feels so different from the A4 sheets used most everywhere else in the world? It seems like such a small thing, yet why do countries diverge on something so basic as the size of paper? In the US, you might find yourself collating pages that feel satisfying yet different in shape from those A4 sheets seen in European or other international offices. Surely paper sizes wouldn't really matter that much, right? Yet the truth is, there's a fascinating history behind why various places use different paper sizes. A history that goes beyond convenience and reaches into the realms of math, culture, and practicality. Today, we'll uncover the story behind these sizes, wandering from the geometry of ratios to the pragmatics of international standardization, and glimpse how these choices had ripple effects through history and across industries. So, let's dive into why our paper dimensions differ, and what this choice tells us about how standards, and the lack thereof, shape our world. When it comes to paper sizes, most people assume that the differences are just a matter of tradition or regional preference, like how we drive on different sides of the road or measure temperature in Celsius versus Fahrenheit. It seems logical enough to think that each region simply grew accustomed to its own particular setup and stuck with it out of habit or convenience. Or we might imagine that paper size was determined randomly by influential companies setting a trend, like a dominant paper manufacturer catching on with a specific size. Perhaps it involves a commercial conspiracy where suppliers subtly enforced their favoured dimensions to enhance sales monopoly. Yet these assumptions veer quite far from the truth. In reality, the tale of A4 and letter paper involves a quirky blend of mathematical elegance and infrastructural weight. It's a story entrenched in not just localized customs, but rather in national and global standardization efforts. There's a scientific charm hidden beneath that crisp piece of paper that was never about random chance, but thoughtful design and intense planning. Let's unfold the pages of this story to understand what might seem an arbitrary standard is actually driven by practical problem-solving and holistic thinking. Travel back to post-World War I Europe, a continent seeking unity and uniformity in the wake of turmoil. This era was a breeding ground for cooperation and standardization, as nations endeavoured to streamline industrial processes and foster international trade. Amidst this backdrop, a remarkable effort towards uniformity emerged: the ISO, International Organization for Standardization. The ISO's mission was the simplification of everything from weights and measures to, yes, even paper sizes. Enter the A series of paper, and most notably, A4, which was designed not just for practicality, but to embody a beautifully simple mathematical principle based on the square root of 2, establishing an ideal ratio that allows for each size to be perfectly halved into the next smaller size. This effort was deeply rooted in a vision of efficiency and transition, ensuring that every sheet and the scales they created could interact within a perfectly balanced system. The idea was revolutionary, a way to minimize waste, optimize production, and facilitate international compatibility. This systematic approach reflected a profound foresight that sought to circumvent the inefficiencies born of mismatched standards, marking a pivotal moment in the unification efforts across diverse nations. For nations on the path of modernization, selecting a paper size was not merely about picking dimensions based on whimsy. It was a practical decision with lasting infrastructural importance. The simplicity of the A4 standards meant that you could seamlessly shrink or enlarge documents, an invaluable capability in scientific documentation, photocopies, and international correspondence. Consider the challenges of scaling a blueprint. With the A series, reducing an A3 blueprint to A4 size merely required folding, without needing to reformat or recalculate spatial arrangements. This halving consistency meant less waste, easier storage, and a universal jump between formats that lowered costs across printing and mailing services. Embracing A4 also allowed nations to align their manufacturing processes, standardizing products from office equipment to filing systems. It created a harmonized economic zone that facilitated trade, legal proceedings, and education across borders, without the cumbersome logistical overhead of disparate paper sizes. It was a cunning solution to several practical problems, a silent but potent force shaping global office environments. Back in 1786, long before the modern A4 paper became the norm, the mathematician Georg Christoph Lichtenberg proposed the idea that a paper's width-to-height ratio should be the square root of 2. Fast forward to the 20th century, and this elegant mathematical principle was embraced by the ISO, giving birth to the universal application of the A series. The brilliance of this concept lies in its geometric efficiency. Each subsequent size in the series maintains its aspect ratio with precision and grace. The magic of A4 is therefore in its beautiful simplicity. Double the area and you get a larger size, while keeping proportionality intact, a harmony in form and function. Unfortunately, not every part of the world adopted this ingenious system. In the United States, previously established sizes based on the workings of historical paper-making machines stuck around. The letter size, derived from older machinery more than from mathematical principles, remains standard as part of the traditional landscape now enshrined in local usage. It's stunning to realize how much influence a simple mathematical ratio has had on our paper, making the A series a subtly profound design choice that whispers efficiency with every sheet flipped. As the practicality of the A series became evident, its adoption spread like wildfire across Europe and eventually to other parts of the globe. The A4 size was embraced by many international organizations and governments, quickly embedding itself into the cultural and economical fabric of these societies. From legal systems to publishing houses, A4 became the default, solidified by its presence in education systems, where standard paper sizes normalized print education. Its integration touched every aspect of office life. Printers, copiers, binders, and filing cabinets became standardized, optimizing workplaces from the ground up. Unexpectedly, this paper size harmonization even influenced small, seemingly unrelated items, like staplers and hole punches, which had to adapt to handle A4 dimensions efficiently. But in the US, these items were already tailored for their existing letter size, further entrenching the divide created long before most people noticed or cared about paper dimensions. It's intriguing to consider that something as simple as paper can serve as a silent force, guiding technological and commercial development across decades and continents, imprinting invisible yet unifying threads into the fabric of daily life. Reflecting on the differences between A4 and letter paper reveals much about how standardization shapes human behavior and industry in ways we rarely perceive. The A-series paper size is a testament to the elegance of mathematical solutions applied to everyday problems. Its lasting presence showcases our intrinsic matching of efficiency with precision. Yet despite the clear advantages of uniformity, remnants of regional uniqueness persist, as seen with the US preference for letter size. This divergence encourages us to appreciate how traditions, once solidified, can become foundational elements of infrastructure. It may be paper today, but think of every standardized item around you. The buttons on clothing, the plugs for electronics, or the keyboard layout. Each was a decision rooted in practicality that later shaped our world. So next time you hold a piece of paper, consider its story. A narrative of mathematical genius and persistent tradition. It's a reminder of both our ability to coordinate on a global scale and the nuances that keep our cultures unique. Such is the seamless dance between uniformity and tradition, embodied perfectly in these simple but consequential sheets of paper.